Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a quick hands-on and initial impressions with the brand new Honor V30 Pro. This is by far the latest and greatest that we have from Honor, so let's not waste any time. This is TK and this is XDA TV. So what we have in front of us is a 6.57-inch Full HD 1080p panel. It's an IPS LCD panel, and although we have that as an IPS panel, we still support dark mode, and that's because of Android 10.0 that's built in here. We have Magic UI 3.0 on top of Android 10.0, which enables us to have dark mode, and it actually does permeate throughout the UI, so you're actually able to turn it on. This unit is a 5G unit running the Kirin 990, the 7nm 990 chipset from Huawei, with 5G enabled. Unfortunately, it does not work in the US markets. At best, I'm able to get basically is 4G. And I did run a few speed tests on this as I was using it out and about. And the maximum I was able to get was basically 30 down and about 43 up. And the slowest I was able to get, as you can see, about 15 down and 11 up, which is not bad at all. Overall connectivity on AT&T is pretty reasonable. Call quality is very good. As I mentioned to you guys before, this is actually featuring a few new features that are very unique. Dual sensors on the front that enables us to have basically a wide-angle lens for front-facing selfies as well as video. 4K supported video on the front-facing sensor. That's a 32-megapixel sensor at 30 frames per second. The secondary sensor that we have there is an 8-megapixel telephoto lens. Now, first and foremost, as far as the main sensors on the back, 40-megapixel sensor at f1.6, that's going to be our main shooter, as well as a 12-megapixel wide-angle lens at f2.2, and last but not least, an 8-megapixel telephoto lens at f2.4 with autofocus and OIS, which is really functional, especially when you're trying to take those really good pictures, specifically if you're trying to basically zoom in all the way to that 5x optical zoom. The front 32 and an 8, and again, as I mentioned, great fixtures as far as the capabilities of what we are able to get here. The camera application definitely works the way we've normally seen it before with Honor or Huawei devices. We do have basically the ability of using AI mode that's built in here. We have super macro because it's recognizing where we are. And of course, if I put my hand back, you'll notice that the actual finder changes depending on what it thinks it's shooting. Portrait mode as well as night mode and of course AR lens are present here. And in the photo mode that I do want to mention to you guys is that when you switch it over to the front-facing camera, you'll notice there's a second option now. And we have the ability of jumping into wide-angle lens. How you guys doing? And that's going to help us to fit in so much more as far as just basically scenery. The cool thing about it as well is the fact that if we switch over back to photo, we'll go back into video. In the video mode, we still have the ability of using both of those two sensors, both on the back-facing sensor as well as the front. And of course, with the back sensors, we're able to basically use standard, which is the wide, the standard focal length, 5x optical zoom, and of course we can do all the way up to 10 times in video, but up to 30 times in pictures. So in 30 times up to pictures here, and of course you're able to basically do like really nice distant photography. The way I was able to take this picture of an airplane that was going pretty far away from me, as well as using moon mode that does not only work here, but is supported. Last but not least, I do want to mention to you guys under video, you'll notice that if we go into the settings, we'll go real quick into settings. So we'll have resolutions here. We have 4K. 4K at 60 frames per second is supported with the Kirin 990, and that's something we knew from the Mate 30 Pro. But it gets very interesting when I switch over to the front-facing camera because we now actually have 4K at 30 frames per second supported video on the Honor V30. So keep in mind that this is something very unique that I actually haven't even seen on the Mate 30 Pro yet. And of course, there's a few additional features here. Google Play Services does not come with this out of the box, so I did have to sideload this, so just keep that in mind. If you do purchase this device, you do need to sideload the actual application. And it's actually pretty similar to the way you do it on the Mate 30 Pro. So just Google that or look for a YouTube video. You should be able to find one. And it's, again, the process is not that hard. It just, you need to be aware of it. Not all applications will work. So for me, Netflix, for example, I could not install that. But most of the other ones, I either found directly in the actual Google Play Store or the app gallery that's built in here from Huawei. So you'll find this in most devices. This does support the Huawei ID login, so we can go into the settings. And of course, you're able to go in and customize all the different options, display, brightness, and as I mentioned to you guys, we do actually have dark mode that's built in here, and you're able to turn it on directly from under the display settings, and of course customize it to your heart's content. And when you do sideload the Google services, the Google option will turn on in here. By default, it is not in there. Running Magic UI 3.0 on top of Android 10.0 with dual SIM, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of internal storage, and again, as I mentioned, the Huawei Kirin 990 with 5G support directly on this device, currently only in the Chinese markets. So the overall impressions of the brand new V30 Pro are actually quite positive. The overall experience, the UI is very nice, very snappy, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 internal storage, and of course the Kirin 990, it's basically the best that Huawei and Honor has to offer. What I would say basically right now, as far as the user experience, the surprises that I got was obviously wireless charging, reverse wireless charging, the ability of actually having native dark mode. Now, yes, it is part of Android 10, but it is actually easily used. And even though we don't have an OLED panel, we're still getting this on an Honor device. Last but not least is, of course, the fast charging that we have here for the 4100 milliamp battery that we have here, both with the 40-watt charger that's included in the box, as well as the 27-watt charger that you do need to buy as a separate accessory, and that one is a Huawei charger that will give you the ability of charging fast wirelessly, charging wirelessly fast at 27 watts. A lot of cool things. Again, 4K on the front-facing camera as well as obviously on the back is a big surprise. For me, I've always wanted the ability of using a higher resolution than 1080p on any camera that gives us a high megapixel sensor on the front. And Honor has delivered on this. And to my knowledge, to this day, this is something that we still don't have on the Mate 30 Pro. So this is technically a nice little step forward. And hopefully we'll see that as an update with other devices. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of the V30 Pro and what would you like us to focus on? Camera-wise, this is looking to be a beast. Again, photography as well as videos and all of the things that we always expect with having more sensors on a device. So we have 5 sensors here, 2 on the front, 3 on the back. I'll see you guys in the next video. Like and subscribe as usual,